Oh, haven't did a video in a while. I guess a wild thing. What happens at 2:24 in the morning? It seems like Trump is. I don't know if he thinks he's been indicted or being indicted, but anyway, he has to see the information that the FBI has gathered in the CIA because he thinks that people have been spying on him. No, he is hanging out with Russian spies that are part of a Russian and Chinese mob that been in the United States, I guess, in 73, 72, using racism and other propaganda to destroy our Constitution. You got to understand, ever since the founding fathers got here, they've been trying to make it a more civil, humane, um, uh, give people certain rights and to pursue happiness, to have a freedom of speech, to have a freedom to have a militia against this type of invasion. You know, because the founding fathers knew they had invaded this land. And the only way to stop something like that from happening is to have a free and open government that is governed by the people, for the people. And I guess, and there is some stuff, top secret stuff about where corporations trump, the citizens. And I could tell that Trump has not ever had a debriefing. So I don't understand it, or Trump has never had clearance um, 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 to be, I think even to be debriefed because of him being a blackmail and him laundering money for Russia, and his son is even doing stuff with China for Russia and China, which is evident, like with the Deutsche Bank, unfortunately, and with his con artists, like with his Trump University, that his type of business is always to do more harm, you know. And you could, like, certain people like Paul Ryan, you know what I'm saying? I think he fell along with that propaganda. Oh, let's get rid of welfare. Let's get rid of Social Security. Let's get rid of the stuff that is the catch net. You know, oh, let's get rid of all the immigrants and stuff like this. You know, if we want to have the country great the way it was before, I think we have to get rid of the people that came here and colonized the place. You know, because it's so polluted. I'm talking the water, the air, the soil. There's plenty of toxins there. And we have, and like in some cases also, like some religious fractures, they believe that, oh, it's, when Jesus comes back, it's going to be the end of the world and all this. So, I think they, try to help promote it. And then there's some other groups that that have the mindset, that the people are suffering so much. There's so much, we can't even comprehend us being mammals and related to the animals. That if we were made in God's image, then therefore God is a mammal. For God to give life, you have to go past the negativity. You have to go past the oppression that some of this writing puts in. Because like with my experience with a lot of religious people, especially Catholics, they go testify, in the to the preacher, in the little booth, whatever. Next thing you know, somehow the Catholic Church got their land, and not going to do anything for them. They just really treat them mean and evil, and I mean, just, what's just one person experience. And then, so I knew guys that really, very good looking as children, and was abused by the church. And you know, and it's generational in some cases. But that's neither here or there. And so, and you have a fracture, you know, along with the, we want a populace, or whatever. We want the world to end, and so we are going about it the right way to end the world or destroy the world through pollution, through always threatening with nuclear bombs, testing nuclear bombs, the amount of radiation that's in the atmosphere, the amount of carbon dioxide, the amount of that lead, mercury, and other things that are not very solutions to life, as we know it, and like they're planning on going. It's a crazy story that the first um like like I guess you would human whatever wasn't shown like on the graph, it just looks like white man without like the different stages, pretty much looks like white man in different stages of hair growth, um and without eyebrows, so it looks more protruding. But anyway, um um they were saying that the first of life, the first like that started life here, the humanoid. Now this is just a silly story. Not only had gills, but had lungs, nose, and all this. Had bone structure that in their back that was allowed them to have sort of like wings. You still had the arms and a tail, and then she laid eggs and whatever. And it's a silly story. So like so they could go from the water to air to walking on land. Like that's like where you get those images of the wings. But anyway, so like they were saying like that 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 they left and went to another planet. And if you don't have the right type of structure to be able to breathe there with the gills or whatnot, still the nostrils, that humanoids could only live like humans that's in the form we are now could only live like 88 days away from planet Earth, which I think they proved that. I don't know if they had. I think they proved that they had humans out in space and are up in our, circling the Earth. Probably longer than that. But you have to worry about with no gravity, dislocation of bones, and um, like um, stuff like that. Um, and, and, uh, but anyway, so that's neither here nor there. But like, well, in that story, there is always a rebirth, a rebirth, a rebirth, a rebirth, a rebirth. You know, like every seven generation, like you come back in a sense. You know, um, going down through generations. That, ouch, and um, or essence of you never leaves, or the spirit of your soul never really leaves. Everything gets recycled like to something. Uh, uh, you know, Nothing of this planet leaves. So you had the, like, oh, they're coming back, the rebirth, and but the total, death and destructions, can happen anyway through floods, volcanoes, earthquakes, tornadoes, and and other natural causes like rock falling down from the side of a mountain or something. But avalanche or snow slides or something. But anyway, so and and every winter stuff dies, spring comes back alive. But they show the pattern of life and death, renewal, and the so there is always that. And so um one of the offsprings from the first, I don't know, I guess Ra, whatever. Um, I don't know, like what the name is. Um, but anyway, one of the offsprings is now she done bred with a humanoid that was here, which um um gave them some type of um, enlightenment to survival. Uh, because you have to understand, like, men, like, they weren't like overly sex or all of this because they, men and women were busy. What is it? With food, water, clothing, and shelter. And food took up most of their time. They were not meat eaters. The only time they would have meat is like they'd have 7 days where like the women and the men would separate when the women was on the period, but they didn't separate the whole time. They usually it was just like the big separation was like the first 4 days, and then the evening they had this tradition, or late at night they had a tradition where they would look at the stars, and they were saying the first language started with the women hanging out together, counting, you know, each sunset, each nightfall to the next period, and this counting and this understanding the numbers, which is another gift that they got to be able to um, understand language. And with this came the understanding of math. With the understanding of math came the understanding of science. So, it wasn't like nowadays where they show women, like, all the women, like, oh, only the women go get water. Um, you know, um, every able body would go get water. They would think of ways of making their life easier, simpler, you know, as they had the ability to use tools, you know, but they were mostly just fish and plant eaters. Of course, along with plants, roots, or something. They wasn't mammal eaters. But when the woman was administrating the last like 2 nights, the men would go and bring back an animal, something like uh, close to like a cow, like an ox or something, because the woman would eat the liver, and the men they would share some with the men too, but mostly the women eat the liver, the men eat the hearts, and they'd all share the rest of it. But if be one animal, they would sacrifice, and but like what I'm saying. But they worked as a unit, and they made very pretty people. I think because it was very, since the men didn't, like have two or three women, and there was a lot of survival, uh, uh, but they developed strong and healthy, and so that was they're attractive people. So now you look at today, at the president, you can see how unattractive, really. Even his wife, I know she's supposed to be Miss Universe. I hate to say, I've seen a lot better looking people just in this neighborhood than I've seen a lot better looking Caucasian people than her. Uh, um, and I don't have to go more than 150 miles to find them. But anyway, and that's that's my personal opinion. Um, but so I think now that we have Republicans that fell into their racist propaganda, to where like, oh, like, we might lose our white privilege card or whatever. And in doing so, and this has been going on a while with the greed and the jealousy, the seven sins that these so-called Paul Ryan Christian people project in their behavior, that we find very disgusting and appalling, and self-destructive. And I think that the main outcome of this situation that we're in, by Trump demanding to see stuff, and he's not, what I'm saying. What I think they should do is go ahead and charge him for a crime. Therefore, his lawyers can legally see it. But the thing is that Trump is just a little petal in this giant pool. He started the ripples, but I think they want a clean house. Like, they're not going to drain the swamp. I think they're just going to disinfect it, eliminate the rats and the pigeons, and all the shit that they drop. Just disinfect it, bleach it down, and scrub it properly with some peroxide, and then come back with some soap and water, and then come with pneumonia. Scrub that out, and then scrub it again with some good old soap and water. And then just go in there with heat, and hot steam, hottest stuff as you can, and get it all in the corners. Don't forget the walls. I would just take all the drywall off. Just have to be the whole thing to be demolished, because what they're doing, and because with Russia interfering with enough evidence that they have for the safety and the security of our country, regardless, because we right now are in a constitutional crisis, because they're not respecting what the United States was built on and what it represents. And nobody has respect for Trump. Nobody has respect for Paul Ryan or anybody else in the GOP that's going along with this type of propaganda, this type of racist propaganda. I mean, look what they're doing to football. I'm so turned off to sports anyway. Because if I watch sports, guys, and I see them taking, to me that puts more to me into the game. The thing that even with all these back concussions and other brain damages that they have, that they still can think. It's amazing. That what I'm saying. But it's not a matter of thinking. It's just a matter of being black in this country and having to deal with black people, that have been, been in, the propaganda, Jim Crow propaganda, had lived through, and their parents have lived through that, and what we have now, and one of the main things that they did during that, and with the church too, because the church has always been a tool of war. If you just Google the Renaissance, or not just the Renaissance area, but if you Google like the Great Crusades and the Spanish Inquisition, I can't remember. Anyway, it's 2:45. I think I said enough, but I think what we're seeing is happening is that Russia, through making these people rich or whatever, like Comey, he's made a lot of money, and selling. I guess still using Trump's name, selling it, and then I guess Trump is probably very sick. I mean, wasn't he wasn't those Russians like big into the orgy? That's one of another thing they get too. Is like you could get like a guy, like he goes down like to Brazil or Colombia or fucking Germany or somewhere where They could visit prostitutes or whatever, France, Taiwan, and you know the the importance of what is for our survival is irrelevant now because of the dollar bill that we use. Replace that for that supplies us with our clothing, our food. Anyway, um, I think the GOP is making a mock. They're humiliating. Well, anyway, uh, um, I think that the only never mind. We screwed.